Tonight that most everyone knows. I asked him to tell me how many hats he wore, and he said, "I'll just say Bob Vernon. They know who I am." But he's an artist and a historian, an archaeologist, and he's got this new idea that could change how rural areas can save their oral history, because when we're gone, it's going to be gone. And with no further ado, Mr. Vernon.
By the way, Otis gets a lot of credit for this, because she called and asked me if we could do a program, and as usual, I was sitting in my recliner with Google Earth running, and we got to talking about that her mother and my mother went to the same little old school that is now vanished all except for the Well House. And I was moving around, and she said, "Well, I lived on this road," and I started putting things on Google Earth. I said, "Wait a minute, we've got our program, we just did it. We're going to do an experiment tonight in capturing oral history, oral family and local history, not only oral, but visual, because they're going to be video recording it, and we're going to be doing spatial history, because we're going to be building a map live while you talk, because we'll be doing it on video and Google Earth. I'll be the computer pilot. We've got Mike Gannon and Gary Inslee here from the Collins Learning Academy taking care of our videoing, and one of these days we hope to be able to capture this live, the whole interaction on the screen live, but tonight we wound up with some gaps that the electrons wouldn't jump, so we couldn't record it. But the main thing is, you folks are going to be the main part. You're our experts. You're the ones that have lived here. We're going to be talking about the southeastern corner of the county, and we want to capture what you've got. Now, you're going to see me when I'm running Google Earth playing around over on the left side, switching things and off, sliding things around and opening and closing stuff. Basically what I'm doing, if you look right up here, that is what I call a locale folder. And like any good folder, you can put folders inside. That's what these are over here. It's a home places folder. And if you click on that little triangle right beside it, and click like that, it'll show you have folders inside of that. In other words, this would be the current residents in a place, and here's who lived there years ago. And I'm going to be trying to put markers on the map with the name, as y'all guide me where to go, as you remember old things. Also, in the communities, you do the same thing, or roads, any of these. And as I was talking to Jimmy about, I've also got it set up so that I can do eastern set of communities, and there's a western set in there. If we have enough time, we go over to the Bethsaida, Y, Bivens, and pick up that part of it. But right now we're going to stay pretty close to the southeast corner. Okay, so now I need to go to this thing up here, and I've just switched to Google Earth. We're live on Google Earth, and you recognize that's where we are. We're there. Everybody knows where the Atlanta Hospital is. This is Louise Street in red over here, 43, and this is William Street, which is Orton Market Road 251, and we're going to be heading out south on 251 to look at the eastern road. We're going to just travel south on 251 down to where Long Bridge Road comes into it, crosses and goes over to Biggins, and this is the area from Huffines down to McLeod, and well, here, let me turn on these communities, and I'll do that. Turn them on. Okay, here's Huffines, Wiggins, McLeod, the community of Walton, and the community of Rambo, and probably spend a lot of time on this road here, because a lot of people don't know a lot about that particular area. Okay. And so I'm going to start us off, how about, go to Huffines, just for starters. And Huffines is where a number of people around here grew up. Some of the features there are the Huffines Baptist Church, downtown of Huffines, and if I go down here and turn it on, old businesses, there should be Let me click it on. The Huffine store, somewhere in this area. Is that pretty close, Neil, to where it was? Let me back out so you can see a little better. Here's the Lynch House.
Okay, where's the road that goes to the Watson Cemetery?
This is Watson Cemetery Road, right here.
Okay, it's right across the road from it.
Right. So it's further up?
No.
Okay.
No, that's it right there.
That's it.
That's it. That's where it is. That's the ruins of it right there, right? Okay. So we have just interactively, verified a feature on the map. And so I'm going to zoom back up a little bit. And one of the things that's really interesting is that you can also have a folder in here for churches and cemeteries. Where is it? Here. And
up a little bit.
what do I want to do here? Oh, I know what I want to do. I want to that's ready. I'm going to take you on a close look at Huffine Cemetery and show you what you can actually do with Google Earth. I'm going to drop you down on that cemetery and show you that you can identify one specific grave in the cemetery. That's how good it is. So if we wanted to map a cemetery like this, we could map the entire cemetery at this level of
We've
resolution.
already mapped it.
What?
Walked it from one end to the other.
Right now, I'm going to take us back over to the and right across the road from it is the Huffine School. There's Huffine School.
There you are.
Anybody in here in that picture?
I don't think I'm in that picture, but I went to the Huffine School.
And I don't know what they were doing in this big old rough cut timber just standing up right alongside the building. But that's one part of it. Now, I'm gonna take us down the road to the Pleasant Hope Church. Do you know of anything important between Huffines and the Pleasant Hope Church?
The Wiggins House. Let's go back to the store. Do you want the name of the store? Man that owned the store to start with, built it?
Well, if you just tell me who it is, we'll record it.
It was B.C. Lynch that originally started the store there.
E.B. Lynch, and this is the Lynch House right here. Right?
That's Gene Lynch House now, right?
Yeah.
No. B.C. Lynch's house is up there toward where the first brick house that one of the Lynches lived in. Going to the back there.
Make sure I've got one of these. Now I've got a middle block. Okay. Make sure I'm doing houses. Okay. That's okay. Now I'm going to go back to Huffines. See, and that's one of the reasons it's an experiment. People are going to jump around all over the place, and here we are back in Huffines. Now, where is it from here?
Okay, you're going toward Watson Cemetery.
Go toward Watson Cemetery. Okay.
And it's going to be the first brick house on the left. right after the curve of the road.
Right in here, right here.
Right in.
That one, or is it back
there? Right in there.
Okay.
His house was right in there under those oak trees there.
Okay. And that was Lynch?
B.C. Lynch.
Y-N-C-H?
L-Y-N-C-H, correct.
And get this out of the way. I'm going to put an old house right there where that driveway is.
Right
Say B.C. or B.P.?
Huh?
B.C. Boy.
You got
You got D.
B. I can correct it later. I'm trying to just get something up there. I may just put Lynch from now on. And I'll come back and get, is that about the right location for the house?
That's about right.
Okay, that's what I want to do. All right, so I'll say, okay, we've now got a new, oh, now why'd you do that to me? You know, it opened up the original Texas Land Survey later, which I don't know why I did that, but and this line over here is a part. If I take you way out, see Cass County is already. That's your head right for Cass County. I can click on any one of those, and it will tell me whose head right it was. So if we got that, we can switch it on or off anytime we need it. So I'll be doing that, you know, from time to time.
Okay, when you get back to the store at Huffine.
Okay. Huffine Church is close enough, and then I can work over from there. Okay, here's a Huffine store.
Okay, across the road, there's a house there that belongs to Hosey. That's where the old T.J. Hosey place was.
Now, across the road on the north side of the Watson Road or the south side?
On the south side of the Watson Road.
Is that the one that Ms. Lynch has now?
No, that's the one that Melody Klein lives in now. That's the daughter of the Hosey.
This one right here? Which other? This house right here?
No, it's right there at the intersection. Right up there at the corner. Right there.
Right there?
Uh-huh.
I thought, okay. Who you say that is?
T.J. Hosey Home Place.
The Hosey, okay.
Uh-huh.
The ones that had Hosey store out on Long Bridge Road.
I'm not sure about that.
Okay, so I'm gonna. Okay.
Do you want one other thing on the Watson Cemetery Road?
Let's move on down.
Okay.
I want to move south a little bit.
All right, let's this might be interesting to you. The 251, Farm Market Road 251 you're referring to?
Yeah.
Before we had 251 and all like that, that was referred to as the Atlanta Bogger Springs Road.
Atlanta Bogger Springs Road, okay. And I have, for Kathy's purposes, I have a mention in the county records where the Bright Shore to Jefferson Road crossed the Atlanta Bogger Springs Road.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
So, you know, every one of these things, we learn something new. Okay, if that was called Atlanta Bogger Springs Road, now I know better to look for that crossing of the old Bright Shore to Jefferson Road.
Okay, you're going toward Pleasant Hope.
Yeah.
Okay, you can go down about a mile, 3/4 of a mile.
Let me back up here.
No, on the hill.
Okay, here's Pleasant Hope, and show me whereabouts.
Do you have the Cass County Water Building there?
Cass County Water Building would be about right here, I think.
Okay, come up just about 100 yards in that in the same direction. Coming toward Pleasant Hope.
Toward Pleasant Hope. Same side of the road?
Yes.
Close to where Annie Margaret's house is?
Yes, just a little bit south of there.
Okay.
That was the Leonard Hill place. That was Annie Margaret's daddy.
Okay, so
I've got a picture of that house. Not with me.
okay, so there's a lot of things. It would be just south of there. In this piece of land here, probably where? Down.
No, it was no. That belonged to the Holidays on down, just below that, on both sides of the road.
Now, where was the hill out? Here, right here.
by the water department.
Yeah, that's right where the water department building is.
Yeah.
There's the water department right there.
It's just next door to it.
Annie Margaret's next door to that.
Close to Annie Margaret's, next door to that.
And then come on down about 150 feet or so on the same side of the road. And that was the Leonard Hill House.
Probably still on this land right here?
Right there. Uh-huh.
Right in here?
Right about there.
Okay. We'll say that's close enough for government work right now.
Otis just said she has a picture of the house. Do you have a place for notes?
No, it shows the front of the house, but I didn't bring it with me.
I know.
Okay.
But
We'll scan those in and collect them, and I'll show you in a minute what we do with them.
Okay, and you can go on down about 300 yards toward Pleasant Hope from Leonard Hill's house. And on the west side of the road,
This is Pleasant Hope Road coming out,
where's Leonard Hill's house at?
right here.
Way back.
Okay, go about 200-300 yards, a little bit further, on down.
Okay, what's there?
That was the old Humphrey place on
Oh, yeah.
the Allday place. The land belonged to Allday, but the Humphreys lived there.
It was a log house, wasn't it? Tim? I mean,
There's some old walnut trees there.
So it's down,
Not that far, not that far. Now, go on the other side of the road.
other side.
Yeah, right there.
you just had some walk by along in here?
Long in
Right
there.
where that hunting camp is. That hunting
Where
camp.
what?
There's a hunting camp right there.
Okay.
See, you're right there almost on
I
it.
can't right in here. There
Yeah,
it is.
that opening.
Okay.
Okay,
You remember these?
so we'll say that's it. Okay, now we're gonna go down toward Pleasant Hope.
Now, don't go quite that far yet. You see where the road 251 begins to make an elbow down there?
Break out right here?
No, way on down below the Humphrey.
Right there.
Right along in there, there's a bend in the road and there's a high cliff there. That was a Pinker's place.
And the Pinkerton, on which side of the road?
Troy, on the
West, east. East side of the road.
side of Pleasant Hope Road zone,
East.
East side.
east side. Troy Pinker's family lived there.
Okay.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, right here along about where it makes a king.
Right about there, yeah.
How about there?
Uh-huh.
I forgot, I didn't know that.
We now got some more houses. I've
Pinkerton.
got to read from one
Remember
on down
that?
to, well, it takes on down to Pleasant Hope Church, and while we're flying there, we are in the midst of writing up a historical marker for Pleasant Hope Church. Pleasant Hope is a primitive Baptist church, known in the good old days as Hard Shell Baptist. And I'll tell a story about it before I let Ola start talking about her part of it. But my mother used to go there, and when their preacher wasn't preaching, or when they had a preacher, they only preached once a month at that church. But when they were going to go there, they'd get all cleaned up the night before, and the primitive Baptists had foot washings. So they would get all cleaned up, they'd get dressed the next morning, go to church at Pleasant Hope. They'd have a foot washing.
Bob, can you stand up? We can't hear you. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you stand up? We can't hear you. There's too much undercurrent.
Anita, you're drowning me out.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
I got a complaint from the audience, okay? Good thing I know Anita well. I may not be able to outrun her, but I think I got trouble before. Anyway, when they got there to church and got ready to do the foot washing, the girls would pull off their black stockings and learn that their brothers had put soot in them the night before. They had black feet.
Soot,
Put soot in the girls' stocking. But here's the Pleasant Hope Church, and it has a cemetery here.
Yep.
And somewhere down in here, there's a place called the Josie House, and I'm going to go over and kind of let Otis do some talking. Now here's the Josie House. It's somewhere over across the road from Pleasant Hope Baptist Church. Tell them about the house.
That house was just across the road. When I was a little kid, my daddy took me over there, and there were still the remains of the old house in the barn. And this is just across from Pleasant Hope Church.
Who's that man? You know?
That is Bill Josie, my great-great-grandfather.
Great-great-grandfather,
Yeah.
okay. And how many people do y'all see in that picture? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one sitting on the rail there, both sitting on the rail. It also has a connection with your granddad, right? Granddad, and grandma. You said your granddad did a lot of work, and weren't sure that they lived there, but.
He never did, but I think he left his wife at her mother's house, and he went to work in the oil field, and that's where she had her baby, her second child.
This is her mother's house.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing special about this man, those many years ago, look right here. What is that?
Looks like a Bible.
That's a Bible. He wanted everybody to know he was a man of God. So talk a little bit about him.
Pardon?
Well, talk a little bit about him. Was he a hard-shell Baptist
Yeah,
preacher?
he was. And he was a farmer.
And the preachers in those days preacher wasn't a full-time job. They had to make a living like Paul.
Washing problem.
And she was in this house when she had her baby, and that's
Ford Wall, my daddy.
That's your daddy, okay. And
He was
here's
born
your
in 1904.
1904, in that house right there, right across from Baptist Church, and here's your family.
And I wanted to say, in the first little house, the lady on the porch is Martha Ann, that's Maddie Hill, is Martha Ann Hill. And she's the one that gave the land to the Pleasant Oak Church.
To the church, okay. And what didn't you say a lady was living in here in 1918 during the flu epidemic?
That was my great-great-grandmother. She died of the flu in 1918, that flu epidemic.
And her daughter died too, right?
Yeah.
And when you go to Pleasant Oak Cemetery, you'll find those two tombstones from 1918 right together. You walk in there and say, no question, that's got to be flu epidemic. You know, two people right there in a short time.
Martha Ann Hill was the daughter of Greenberry Hill and Sylvia Bale Hill, and they're buried over at Watson Cemetery.
Okay. By the way, Luella is writing down family names and relationships as she goes along. She's making notes on them. So we're building an intermarriage tree among all these families. Because if you get down there, you'll see there's a lot of folks that got together. Well, my personal comment on this one, I said this man had to be a disciplinarian. These two little boys got their cap guns, and look at that finger right there. You got that finger out. Luella and I had a picture made dressed up as me as a Southern Colonel and her as a Southern Belle, and had me a mock-up Captain Ball revolver, and they made the picture. And as soon as my son saw it, he says, "Baloney, that's not period." I said, "Well, I got on period glasses." He says, "Yeah, but back in those days, they put their finger in the trigger guard. You couldn't bring yourself to do it on a dummy gun." So these boys are already trained to handle a gun safely.
Anyway, that's my family, my mother and daddy.
And who's that?
Well, that's me.
By the way, did you notice the name Olis Ford for her daddy? Olis Fay for her? That's a very interesting relationship. Okay, back to good order.
With that Bible, where did he get foot washing?
What?
That man that had the Bible in his lap, where did he get foot washing in that Bible?
Because Jesus washed his servants' feet.
Right.
And it was a sign of surrender and servitude.
I know that too.
Okay. Okay. So I've got to go over here and find that Josie House again.
Is that right?
I've done been in a foot washing ceremony.
Randy said they used to have it over.
We had it one time. I didn't like it. Didn't like it, so they didn't.
Otis, this is right across the road from the church. Was it back out here or close around where it was?
A little bit closer, because I didn't want directly across the road from it. About there is good.
Right there?
Yeah.
Okay. So we now got that house placed. And, well, let's see. I'm going to just go to, just to show you something you can do. You don't have to have a group together to do this.
Oh, we didn't see the log house, did we?
But, what?
We didn't see the log house.
Who?
You know the old log house? Did you show it?
No, I get down there too.
Oh.
I'm still way up the road. I'm still going south on the road.
Okay.
So I'm going to take us to this right here,
Don't rush it.
and I'm going to turn it, put this on.
Yeah,
Clear cut.
clear cut.
And there are the people who live along in that section. Here's the Cruisons and the McLeans. And then from here on, everybody, here's my place right here, all the way down through here, I'm kin to everybody along that road. And a lot of others. And, you know, you've heard me say before, I don't badmouth anybody around Cass County. Either I'm kin to them or whoever I'm talking to is kin to them. And that's what shows up on this map. We get these people that married back and forth, and we build this web of relationships, and that's what I'm trying to show here.
Okay,
But-
have you left the Pleasant Hope Church?
Yeah, I've left it. I'm going to work my way on down. I've got a lot more ground to cover.
Okay, but before you get on down there, there's the Godwin place there.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Or the McLean's,
Yeah.
Wiggins House.
What do you call that house there? That brick
McLean.
house? McLean?
yeah, McLean,
Yeah,
that's
before
what
you get
she
to
said.
the McLean, right there at the McLean house.
that's
Okay.
McLean.
I'm gonna do something kind of special here.
Yeah.
This house right here is a house that Willie and Eva Peacock, my grandparents, and after they passed on, my Aunt Eunice, when her husband died, she moved in there and built a little place out here, and they lived in this little garage apartment while they had the old house to be built. And Eunice Travis and Modine Peacock lived in that house. But I'm sad to say that I've got to come up here and okay. Anyway, messed up. But I've got to change that name because Modine Peacock, about this time last night, passed away.
Last night?
She would have been 95 on the 19th, and I guess she and the Lord decided nearly 95 years on that body was enough, and she wanted to be with the Lord. But I'll have to re-edit that.
What house is that across the road from them, that old house? By your brother's brick house?
That's the Hayes house. That
That's the Hayes house?
yeah. I'll let me turn on some more of these old houses down here.
Could I say something really quick about
Sure,
that?
go ahead.
Gwen and I went on a little all day long, I guess, excursion of that part of the country, and we have a lot of photographs of that old Hayes house and several other houses that we found. The Hayes house is a hunting camp now, but it's still it's in pretty good shape for an old dog house.
Part of it still.
Yeah, some of it's gone.
All porches are.
Yeah.
There are a number of places in here. I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna turn on to show you what can be done. Here is Willie Peacock's house, and it was in the boy, got a lot of stuff open.
Horatio Cunningham.
It was in the Horatio Cunningham survey, and he owned this land. He divided it up with his kids before they died, and each kid got a strip like this up across the road, and he put a common road down here, and then gave a larger chunk back in the back. You get the stuff outlined in yellow is mine. And here's our house up here. I bought some land from my cousins. And you can actually see my firing range and the oil level in the place very clearly. So there's a lot of, you can add far more than you're doing tonight. Right now, I'm just trying to collect those houses. Does anybody know where Miss Lily Price's house was?
I've been back for 12 house.
Huh?
Or 12 house.
Well, she had that land just to the west of Peacock Lake.
Yeah. You turn off up there at the what do you call it? McLean house.
Where the other house is, For the Frenchies. Yeah.
Yeah, Fraser.
Yeah.
It's on the Lady Price property.
Lee Price. Okay, well here's the barn, their barn, the clubhouse that I heard about was back in here. The barn is right in here, you can still see the old barns there, and that barn has a complete blacksmith shop in it.
Yeah,
What?
really.
Blacksmith shop.
You just take it out and use it.
What was Johnson's name, Luella?
It's McLean. His father is C.E. Johnson.
C.E. Johnson, yeah, C.E. Johnson. Did any of y'all from that area ever know C.E. Johnson?
Roy.
He has a son named Roy, he's a colonel in the army, he just got out. But his granddad had a blacksmith shop, and all the contents of that blacksmith shop are in this barn.
Wow.
And right along about, here's the road coming down, so right along about right here is where is that where the house was, or was it into this road?
It was kind of in front of the
barn.
Toward the, because when the house place, we walked back
right
to the
here.
barn.
Yeah, I'm gonna zoom in.
You should be able to,
Can you find that pond?
there's a pond back there.
There's a
Yeah,
pond.
there's a
Pond's
pond.
right there. There it is, the
Pond right
barn.
there.
Okay, you come on up, kind of northeast, I guess, east of the,
There's the barn, here's the
That's
barn right
I
here.
think, right
a
there.
little bit east of the barn.
So it's back over,
It's on,
they told me right along in here was the clubhouse.
it was closest on the highway, a little bit further up.
It's been a while, so.
Back to the left a little bit. A little bit more. Somewhere right about in there.
Okay? We'll say we got that located.
Can I inject something here?
Yeah.
Willie Price gave us some photos, and downtown here, right next to Brogan's, was the Johnson, help me out, Charles.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're
Johnson
right.
Blackmish?
Yes, it was
Yeah.
in Atlanta.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's on
Moved
the
to
end.
Atlanta.
On the end of Regions Bank.
Yeah, they moved, I guess they moved from down there? Or,
I guess they took it down there and stored it, I don't know.
I'm gonna
Maybe
ask
it's all in
some
that
questions
barn.
here. There was an old house right back here, after you cross this little branch up on the hill, they call the Blakey House, big old log house, and we used to use it for hunting camp, and it had Texas' largest white oak tree. It was white oak, I believe it was, wasn't it, Neil?
What?
That tree that was over the Blakey House was a white oak.
Yes.
It was Texas' largest white oak tree until one of the big limbs broke off, and it was in the second because it lost its width.
Yeah.
Yeah,
are you pronouncing that Blakeney?
no, Blakey.
No, it wasn't Blakey, it was Blakeney.
Yeah.
Blake, N-E-Y, B-L-A-K-E, N-E-Y,
No, B-L-A-T-N-E-Y, Blakeney.
B-L-A-K-N-E-Y.
Yeah, Blakeney House.
Okay, and we'll go here, and,
Blakeney. I just didn't know that
I knew there was a house there, but maybe you know, in the non-connected.
You can figure it out and you take what you want.
okay. I did that without even having opened the thing. But, interesting story. There's a girl right by the road over here on Aunt Eunice's land. There was a house there that we called the Blakey Girl House. You know, it's so common now for people to, you know, have children without getting married. That girl got pregnant, not being married, and they were so ashamed of her, they built her own house over here and made her illegitimate child live over here.
If I've been around, I'd welcome them.
But that gives you an idea how times have changed.
Go back up to the McClellan house there,
I wish my folks.
and that'll catch us up to,
Here's the McLean house.
McLean.
Here's Cruison's room. Okay.
Okay, on the same side of the road, when you go down, just a little bit south of that.
Okay.
Right.
Tell me who it was.
Well, it belonged to the Godwin, that was the Godwin place, but Highsmith lived there, and her daughter, Eva Hill, and her husband and children were raised there.
Okay, so I'm going to say, I'm going to call this.
Eva Hill, I don't know her husband's name. Yes.
Just give me such a.
I'm gonna call it Goblin Hill. And you say it was right along about in where the McLean house was, or?
No, it's a little bit south up there, some pecan trees there, and the house was right behind those pecans, just about 50 feet or so outside the line of the McLean house.
Okay, was it in the Cunningham survey, or
Pardon?
would it have been in the Cunningham survey?
I do not know what survey. I know the McLeod and Huffine School District line was right there, and that house was in the McLeod School District.
Oh.
Well, we are now the line.
Huh?
We're now the line. Our grandkids could go to either school, but they go to Atlanta. Anyway, is that close enough to where you think it was?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll close that out, and we've now got that one located. I'm going to take us on down to, let's see, well, maybe I ought to go down through here, and this is a wall house here, but I don't know who it is.
Charlene.
Charlene, it was a Gerald Wall. And Charlene.
Now you missed my mom and dad's house
Oh,
back
yeah.
up there before you got to that.
It says Virgil. It says Virgil.
This one right here, I didn't, that's it right there.
Yeah.
Let me cancel, I'm going to cancel
Okay.
this, I'm going to take you in close and show you what you can see.
Okay.
Oops, turn that thing off.
But I see that was part of the Joseph and Mary Wiggins land years and years ago when they settled that country, and that became part of one of the children. My dad bought it from them.
They had a lot of land, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many they.
I don't know, but it was a bunch of it.
There's your house right there.
Okay.
And back over here in the woods behind Deanie's house, just out of the wood, where they clear cut it, where we looked, and you can see this old house here that's nearly collapsed. That was the old Hayes house, another old double pin dog cart house.
That's behind Roy's house.
Behind Roy's house, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, let me back off. Well, here's Deanie's house, and Roy's house is right here. That's
Okay,
Roy.
the Hayes house is behind Roy's house.
But it's right there.
No.
No, it's been.
No. It's right directly behind Roy on the line.
Well, there's the line right there.
Well, that ain't Dean's house then.
Well, what,
That's got to be Roy's house.
Here's Willie and Ora Peacock's house. Who lived right across the road from them? Is that
That's
Roy?
Roy.
That's
Roy.
Roy. Okay, they told me that was Deanie. See, so now, well, later, I'm gonna put a question mark in my head. We'll come back and talk about that because I'm gonna sort out if that was Roy's house. Who is this one here?
That's Claudine.
Claudine.
Deanie.
Deanie. Okay. So Deanie's here and Roy. So I've got to switch those two.
Correct.
Okay, I just remember to do that. But anyway, there's the house, and here's Virgil Peacock's house, and then the barber, Charles Peacock's right here. And I want to take us on down now to, well, I was going to mark this house right here.
Charlene Walls is just before you get to Wiggins Curve.
Yeah. No. E&E. And that house is right there, the last house where you get to Wiggins Curve. After the new cell tower. You see the shadow of the cell tower?
Yeah.
See the shadow of the cell tower? But, okay, that's where they are.
In just a few feet, about 300 feet on the same side of the road going south was where Johnny Wiggins' home place was.
Okay.
Was that someone else's home place before him, or was it just his?
It was his. He was
Oh,
one of
it's just
Joseph and
his.
Mary Wiggins'
Yeah.
children, and that was his part of the land there.
And down here.
No, too far. Go back to Charlene. Go back to
I gotta move this
Charlene.
thing out of the way. Here's Charlene Walls,
Okay, just
Not beside it.
it's just a little bit below it there.
There it is.
right tucked in there somewhere.
Yeah, right about there.
Okay. And how did I lose mine? I how in the world did I lose my left-hand side of this thing? I've done something I don't know how to do now.
What?
I really cratered myself. Something I turned off. What did I turn off? Oh, I clicked right up here. That's what it was. That's what it did. Had me scared you. I thought I'd blown the whole thing right out the window. I thought I was going to have to go to Google Earth and reload the whole business. I don't know why that Texas headlight map keep wanting to turn on with all those details. Those are names of all the people that are in Cass County that had land grants. I'm going to turn that sucker off. Close it. And turn it off. Okay, I'm going to just...
There's a Wiggins Curve. There's
Lots of, that's the name.
See that extreme?
Bunch of people.
See where that W is? That's what's called Wiggins Curve. That's where 251 comes along nice and smooth. You get a blinking warning sign here. It makes a hook, and from then on it's snaky all the way down to McLeod. But if you go straight, that's 4346. Going to Market Road 4346. And
Where's Wiggins School at?
well,
He got down there.
we'll get to it.
Go back to Wiggins Curve though.
Well, there's Wiggins Curve right there.
Okay, go back up there in the corner, on the northeast corner.
Up here?
There's a trailer house there now.
Right there.
No, that's too far.
Right in the corner.
That's a Johnny.
Right in the elbow.
It's right on the curve. In the
Yeah,
corner.
way down there's a little white dot there.
Yeah, Doc.
Okay,
just-
who was that?
That was a Joseph Wiggins place. He was one of the old settlers there, Joseph and Mary Wiggins.
Beautiful little house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Was.
Joseph Wiggins' house, and it would have been right up in the curve, right by where that little white dot is.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, now then, the road that goes to McLeod,
Yeah.
there's an electric line that goes to the west.
Right there.
Across my land.
There's the Boy
Okay,
Cast.
now.
That's the Boy Cast right away right there.
Okay, it goes straight now.
Oh, that's my land.
And over there is a T where the Boy Cast electric line T's there.
Mm-hmm.
And right there in that T is where the first Wiggins school was.
Where?
And the rocks, as far as I know, the last time I was there, were still there.
Okay,
And it burned because the wood's burning over. I don't remember what year, but it burned over years ago.
I didn't know where the first school was.
But they had already moved and built a new Wiggins school, so they weren't having school there when it burned. But that's where the first Wiggins school was.
Okay. So, okay, I'll just remember, it was here, right in here, where it tees, that line runs off right here. So it was about right in there then. No.
Where's Wiggins Curve? It's way back down
Here's
here.
Wiggins Curve right here.
It's just a few hundred feet over there.
Well, that is just a few hundred feet, because there's Arlene Wall's house right there.
Well, it doesn't run parallel. It's straight west of that McLeod Road.
Straight west.
Yes, right,
So it
straight.
went out along this line here.
Yes, and when it tees on that other line, somewhere in the corner there on the,
Well, look, it'd have to be on the right, about where it hits the right. If you go west and hit the right of way, it'd have to be.
no, it doesn't go anywhere. It's right there where it tees. It's where the school was.
That's what I'm saying. This is where it tees, because if you look at the high resolution map, I'll show you in a minute. Well, here, I'll do that. I'll take you up here. We'll look for the wires. We'll settle this question right now. Okay, see the poles? You see the wires here? Here's where it tees and comes out, and it runs along the highway. See the poles going over here?
Yeah.
So the T is right there.
Okay, come back in the corner there, somewhere in the corner. Back
And this little in there?
yeah, back up in the corner a little bit, on up in the corner.
Which one?
No,
To the left,
To the left.
right along in there. Somewhere in there is where the first Wiggins school was.
Okay.
Neil, could you find it if you went out there and looked?
Yeah, there should be some rocks out there.
That belongs to me and my brother.
I
that
believe
man
it
over there.
did.
Chicken stew #1, and you say it was right in there.
Yes.
Okay? Got it. Okay, Otis,
Well, that was on the wall, man, right there, those good weeds.
I'm gonna,
Too far advanced.
I'm just taking it back up to this view and turn this off. Now, we know there was a log house that the Walls lived in, and I'm gonna let step over here. We'll talk about that one. Okay, here's a log house that was pretty old. And do you know who built it?
This house was, I can't give an exact date, it was built sometime after the Civil War. It was built by Leonard Sykes Wiggins. And he married, and that's Joe Wiggins, that's their ancestor.
Okay.
And he married, no, that's not, I grew up in that old house. But the man that built it is Leonard Sykes Wiggins, and his wife was Elizabeth Long, part of Solomon Long, one of Solomon Long's daughters. And I just know it was right after the Civil War, and my family owned it in the 1920s and 30s. And then
you can see the value of us tape recording the sound. We're picking up her narration. We're getting a lot more information on the soundtrack, and I'm able to put on the map. Go ahead.
It was built of what they call virgin timber. The trees were 70 and 80 feet long, and it had a hand-hewn roof of shingles.
What about this right here?
It was called a dog trot. It was a breezeway.
There's your dog trot, the breezeway. And I'm going to highlight a detail here. And you can see those big logs, and you can see that they're half cut. They're half logs. So that way your inside walls were flat, so you put tar paper on them or whatever and finish out your walls on the inside.
And when you were in that house, I have been in it. When you were in it, just like the Blakey house, you knew it was massive because the talk, you could talk, but it seemed like it was insulated. You didn't get the vibration from the ceiling that you do in these houses.
Well, to give you an idea of the size of the logs, there's Otis Fay Wall standing there in front of some of these big logs.
I was about 8 years old, something like that.
About 8 years old.
My dad put a tin roof on that house, and then when it rained or it hailed, it was really, you couldn't talk or hear or anything.
But when it rained, it was sure good sleeping, wasn't it?
Now, Otis Fay's grandmother and granddaddy was Ab and May Wall,
yeah,
right?
That was a picture he showed
the picture of him with the Bible.
Way back, yeah.
Now then, the sand went to China, I think, and you had trouble getting water around there. So they
never could get a well.
They had a cistern there, right?
Yeah, there it is.
But back there on the
back, you talk about a good straight man. Look at that. He's doing my narration for me.
Back on the back side, they had good springs, and the water was good.
Yeah, we're gonna map in that spring when we get down here.
My granddad built that curb from concrete, and it was built like a bottle, like a...
Yeah, it's bigger at the bottom. Big,
yeah.
It's what they call the jug or the bell-shaped system. Bigger at the bottom. And finally, Otis had something that I don't know if any other little girl ever had, and I let her tell you about it.
Well, my dad just made me a little miniature log house. And well, you tell that part.
Well, anyway, she said that she was out waiting on a job, and she went to some little girl's playhouse, and the little girl ran her off, and Daddy said, well, I'll build you one. You go to this one. And not only that, you see this thing right up here? You know what that is? If you look right here.
You got her own light bulb.
Yeah, I did.
Not only that,
no, we didn't have water, and then no plumbing. No, we weren't rich.
Anyway, she had power. She had the power inside where you could listen to the radio.
Well, then we had buoy cast in 1950. You know, it came through. We had electricity.
When did you move into that house?
1947.
Okay. So now I'm going to go back.
Now, right there, Otis Fay. Do you remember the David Kennedy house?
No. Where was it?
Okay, right there at the Otis Fay's house. Bob.
Yeah.
My house on there 2 times.
I'm getting ready to.
Got it on there 2 times. Got to take it off.
No, I've got it on there for another reason.
Okay, excuse me.
It was about right in there, is that about right?
I believe so.
Pretty close to it?
Neil would know as well as I would.
Here's your spring road right up in here.
It was just before it started straight, so that's a pretty good location. But let me tell you one thing. Ms. May Wall had the most beautiful frocks that you have ever seen in those papers ever wrote. I mean, it was yards long.
Well, Neil, they still grow there after 100 years.
I am glad.
Not very prolific.
No.
Now, Bob, right there at
I'm not sure this is
house.
going to work, but let's see if he'll go get that. No, I won't get it. Won't get it off the internet. Stop.
Now,
There it is. It had to go from here to the satellite to Philadelphia, back to my server in Pennsylvania, and come back down here. But I've got it. We can also, you notice, I just clicked on this Wall House link right here. That's why there are two of them. One of them is just a plain picture of the Wall House. This one actually has a link to the picture of the house. When you click on it, you can actually bring up the picture of the house. In other words, you go right here and
Bob, when I'm not meaning to interrupt, but when you come to the Hillyard House, Neil will know a lot more about that house
all right.
than I
Let's
do.
don't go that far yet.
One of the things I want to talk about, I'm going to go down here to what I call natural features and man features. Turn those on. Now this road right here is your road that went down to the spring. I thought it was that one, but if you go back in earlier times, you'll see that that road's not there. That upper road is not there. This is the original road that went down, and I think the spring was right here, because if you look on modern stuff, you can see it's got all this footage. The beavers have dammed it up. But I went back to this picture for Charles Steger. Right here.
Is that cemetery?
I think right in there was an old cemetery.
Really?
Charles was looking for a cemetery in that area.
Now, where was this?
This road comes down here and ends in a clearing. Little bitty clearing, not big enough for a field. But I suspect that's where that cemetery is that you were looking for,
Well,
Charles.
there was a house right in there too that belonged to Horace Wiggins' daddy. Or somewhere in that area.
It's further on
Further
down.
back this way.
From Hilliard's up.
It's further on down.
Further on down.
I
Anyway,
think what you're on right there, Bob, there's an oil road right on the line
Yeah, that's
of
where the well was.
Oldest Phase
Yeah.
Wall place. It goes back there to a oil well. And the other little dim road was the one that went to the back of their place that deer hunters used. It goes back there to the spring.
You know where the spring was? You look up there at Wiggins Corner and you go due west, and it's right there.
Yeah.
Up there, it's not
Right there
down.
under those
So
hills.
it's up there.
Because that right there goes, that's a straight road, and the one that went to the back there wasn't a straight road. That goes to that oil well there that was drilled there behind the Hillyard place.
okay, the B.F. Herring tract is this tract right here. That's where Otis Wall's land was, and
85.
I'm guessing based on, I'm going to go back a little more modern in time, show you where the beavers dammed up that right here. There's the beaver pond, and if I turn this thing off, you can actually see a channel running down. So I'm guessing right about in there is where your spring was. Is that pretty close, Otis?
I really believe it was north, a lot north, because it was up. If you went on Mr. Wiggins' corner, and just me and the Wiggins kids used to go straight down there in the gully, and the spring was right down there on the line of Charlene Wall's house.
So it makes
Okay,
sense.
so you're saying the spring was
Up there.
the
Right.
spring.
It's
Straight up.
Go up there at Wiggins Curve and kind of go straight down.
Just a second. Let me get down to that corner.
yeah. If you went due west,
And you came due west. Where was the spring?
a little bit more to the
Yeah,
west, and
keep
in
on
line
going.
with the Green Road.
Keep on going.
Yeah.
You're gonna get in there pretty close to the headlight line.
Yeah, and that's where it is too, on that line, right about there,
No,
up
yeah.
a little
No, you went
north,
too far.
right about there.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah, that's where it is.
See, there's that Waller track is almost at the back side of there, and there's
It
3
is.
acres between that track and my dad's back side of his track there. So
Okay.
it's right
So
there.
now we got the spring located, and I can go and work on the spring road, and that means this is probably the spring. No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spring road going
Yeah,
there.
that's the springs right there. That other's oil road.
Okay, so, but we've got that on the audio track, so I can use that to correct myself. You see how why we're doing oral history and visual history and spatial history all together? I think this is going to really work out, because in my mind, I can't store all this, but it's going to be on tape, and I'll have the straight skinny from you guys.
Oh, did you want that recorded, Bob?
That is real funny.
Mike,
He had his moment.
Mike, I had a fishing buddy up on, he was a Swedish guy and worked on Lake Texoma. And he was always telling me stories. So one day I was out there and the darn water skeeters, they came between me and shore, racing by and messing up my fishing, and I waved at them and being friendly. Next time they came by, I waved at them again. And so the third time I was really friendly. Said I gave him a can of beer. I just forgot to open it. I miss that guy. Okay, now I'm going to, I'm so lost now.
Go back to that wall house, the Alice State house.
I want you, if he can go to the Hillyard place though, Neil, I know you can tell him a lot about that. I couldn't tell him much, but the house is still there, you know?
Yeah.
It's still over there.
Yeah.
They have a beer can.
Turn this thing off here for
Who
I
owns it? Do you know who owns it?
That thing gets annoying when they keep popping
Your
up.
brother?
Okay, here's Otis Faye's house right here, log house.
Okay, now we're going east.
Going east.
Now, we're not going to the McLeod Road. We're about halfway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, tell me what we're trying to get to.
Well, we're trying to get to David Cannon's house down there. It was
Okay.
behind the Wall house, but they had to go out to the other road to get there.
Is that the house where the woman, the Wiggins girl married the Porter? Is that it? The Porter house?
I'm not sure. It was
I'm
called
gonna
David Cannon's
Stop
house.
that.
It was Porter.
I never knew anybody that lived there.
Oh, gone.
Well, the Porters lived on, but they were on that road.
Yeah, they were on the McLeod Road.
Yeah. I didn't know there was another house out there.
Yeah, it was right there behind Nels place.
I never,
You never saw it?
no, house, I mean,
Kind of, you know, it was, y'all were on the hill and then you got up, kind of down in the bottom there.
I never saw
I
it.
need to get me
No one lived there. You don't think it's there now?
No.
I wish you could show me who it was.
Lord, I don't know where I could even show you now.
Now, what I did, I said to give me a house hospital. And that was, what was that guy's name?
David Cannon. C-A-N-N-O-N. I don't know why they called him, but they called him Little David Cannon.
Okay, and he was back out here, where's Hill? Humphrey, Pinkard, it moved up on me, I don't know why I did that.
What's that?
I lost mine. There it is. I have to drag this thing down here so I don't run out of room with it. Well, that part of the clumsiness of working. Okay. So it would have been over closer to the other road.
No, about halfway.
Out in that gully?
Yeah.
Close to that line there. Was it across, this, by the way,
Now go.
this is the headwaters of Mill Creek right here. Where Mill Creek starts. Runs all the way down and crosses 43, 46 right at 125. Anyway.
Okay, well, it would be across the creek then.
Across the creek.
East side of the creek.
East side of the creek, right there.
Okay.
There's a creek, there's a wall house.
Okay.
Is that about right?
That's about right. As best I remember.
Okay. Do you remember where that the dipping vat was?
It's further on down than 43, 45.
Okay. I'm going to, let me see if I can get myself back oriented here. I'm just going to take us to a look at 4346, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to turn off, switch off the Willie Peacock land. This road right here, County Road 4346, it's got all kinds of information about it, all people that we know. And I'm going to step over here and show you some work that Luella and Otis did, just showing some of the information that's available. Luella, in the 1940 census, got the record where the census taker walked that Wiggins Road and the Uplands Road Highway and the Atlanta Highway and recorded a bunch of names. And here were names that were familiar to me, and probably the people that I'm related to or people that I know of are related to it. And I said, that's kind of neat. You know, maybe I can figure out how to put those on the map. Well, Otis made a hand-drawn map. And one of the things that this shows you is everybody has their own map of the world that they build in their mind. And when you're trying to do something like get things in order, rather than draw that line as a big curve like it actually is, she drew it as a straight line. We saw that, remember the last program I did, Merlin Bowman up at Knight's Bluff, she drew a map that was a straight line. Well, that road goes all over the country. But in your mind, you get it straight, and you're more interested in the order and what side of the road people lived on. So she did this, and I went in and I highlighted some of those same names here.
And I didn't know you were going to show it to them.
That's all right. But this is all information that's going to be merged into this total map when we're done. But I said, okay, I saw Ev Daniels over there, saw several of those other names, so I'll just connect them up. Yeah, what a mess. They're all crisscross and zigzag, and something's wrong. And then I got to thinking, you know what it is? If you take this and flip it upside down, they straighten out. What happened was, the guy walked up he started and walked up the road from south to north, and wrote his note from top to bottom. So if you take that original thing Luella did, and start reading at the bottom, you'll match up and can follow it up through here and match the 1940 census to people living there in 1940.
Bob, could you show, where I thought where Buster Wicks and Mutt Wicks' house
Well,
was?
I'm going to get there.
See what she thinks. I marked it.
I'm going to get there. How are we doing on time?
Well,
We do not have
At 8 o'clock.
So
Well,
I would say if anybody needs to leave, they can. If anybody, wants to continue and this interaction, you're welcome to stay. But it is 8 o'clock, and that's our normal quitting time. So.
We don't have Mr. Horn to come tell us.
But we don't have Mr. Horn right now, so.
And you got the keys to the door.
Yeah, we got the keys to the door, so.
So we're in a little space where we got
I'm going to start down here. I'm down what they asked. I'm down where the.
Anybody that needs to leave is welcome to go.
Right now we're down where the census taker started heading up this road. And first thing he did, he crossed Mill Creek. And it's called Mill Creek because right here you can still see Maxie's Dam where he had his visiting, and then Maxie's Hill Pond right here. And he lived in there somewhere. Gwen, your house is right up there to give you an idea. Do you know where the Maxies live?
Oh, yeah, it's right, gee whiz, you don't know what it is.
No.
Let's see. I got things so messed up here. I'm not
Oh, that's 125 running into
Mill Creek.
yeah, down there at Fraser's Creek or Mill, whatever.
Okay, here's your place. Where was the Maxie house?
It was on the west side of that road.
West side of the road.
43, 46.
Okay, here's 125, here's the Chef Sheldon's house.
No, it's south of there.
But I'm just showing you where you are. So in between there, on the west side of the road, whereabouts on the west side of the road, shall I go up or down?
Down.
Down?
See, all that stuff across the road there, too, is about was where his man at the peach orchard was.
That's a peach orchard, okay.
Yeah, come on down. Keep coming on down.
No, they're right there. Go back here with that open, now go past those green trees. Go back up.
Right back.
Drive up a little more.
Right
there. No, a little bit more. And it's there. You're there. You're
It
there.
looks like an old house site there.
It is.
Okay. So that's where the Maxie place was.
Yeah.
All right, right in there.
Okay, now, was anybody of importance between there and Chap Shelton? And
Dark
Buster Mutt?
Darsh Beck Shelton.
Where was their house?
It was on the road on the left there.
Is it in here? It's in here somewhere?
Yeah, before you get to Chap Shelton's.
Okay. Let me,
Should be an oil well in there on the same side of the road. If you can find it, it's going to be a little bit south.
okay.
In fact, there's a trailer house there now.
There's a trailer house there now?
Yeah.
Now, there's a house where his house was.
Well, I mean, the first place in Darsh.
Yeah, I know. Jimmy's house is just right on the spot.
Here's a house.
Checking the house, checking.
Here's a house right here. See this house right here? Is that it?
Change
There's a house right here. Is that it? Here, I'll put the mark there and I'll
Good to
mark it.
see you.
Here's your house, Lynn.
It's right up, just go up a little bit. Okay, and now these are right there.
And that's where they live when,
You said there's a house there now?
that's where Beck
I'm on top of
lived when
that.
she died.
Here's
right?
that